What's up, everybody? I am back with another IKEA hack. That rhymes. Back with a hack. Welcome to DIY-KEA. Cue the intro. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to take your TV from looking like this to looking like this. The floating shelf that I got from IKEA is called the Lack. And the Lack is super cool because they have a few different sizes. They have one that's about 12 inches wide. They have one that's 43 inches wide, which is the one that I chose. And then they also have a huge one that's 74 inches wide, which I actually have underneath my big TV in my living room. And it looks super cool when you hang the shelf on the wall and the TV above it. It looks super clean. But then you start plugging things in and you have this whole mess of cables. I mean, we've all been there, right? We all have that rat nest of cables, either behind our TV, under our TV, in a shelf, whatever it is. So what I wanted to do was clean it up and make it look super clean without having to like drill a channel through the wall so that I could hide cables and stuff. I'm not wanting to do that at all. So basically I came up with a way to hide the cables inside the floating shelf. And it's super easy, mostly because of the way that the IKEA furniture is built. Let's kick things off with a list of what you'll need. First, you're obviously gonna need the shelf. It's called the Lack floating shelf from IKEA. It's like 25, 26 bucks. I'm not exactly sure, I think it's under 30, but you can order it, have it shipped straight to your house, and it only takes a couple days, and they don't charge for shipping, which is really nice. Then, the tools that you're gonna need are a drill, a router, a carpenter square, and a clamp. And that's it. So once I had everything set up in the garage and I was ready to go, I took the shelf out there. I laid down a couple of towels first just to make sure that I didn't scratch the black surface on the shelf, because it does scratch fairly easily. So I laid down a couple of microfiber towels, set the shelf on it upright so that I could work on it, and then just clamped it down to secure it while I was working on it. So the way that I decided to do this was actually to make two cubby holes. I thought about making one, but the problem is we're actually taking some of the support and the structure out of the shelf by doing what we're doing. And you'll see what I mean when we get there, because the thing about IKEA, a lot of IKEA stuff, not all of it, but some of it, some of the cheaper stuff, it's made out of particle board and cardboard. And you'll see once we get inside there what I mean by the cardboard. But basically, you want to leave as much of the structure in there as possible. Not that this is really going to be like supporting any huge amounts of weight, so I'm not too concerned about it. So I left a little support right in the middle just to give it that extra bit of firmness there. You'll see what I mean when we get to that. Once I had the cubby holes all drawn out right where I wanted them, I went ahead and drilled a pilot hole on one side for the router, just to make the starting point easier. And then I just got to routing, and this went by really fast. Honestly, I think it was about 10 seconds that it actually took me to router out that one cubby hole on the right side. Super easy, super quick. So after I removed all the wood with the router there, you can see what I was talking about with the structure inside. So that's all the cardboard that I was talking about. And that stuff, we'll get to that, but that's basically what gives the really thin particle board that this is made out of some more structure. And you'll see why I wanted to keep that little piece in the center. The second way that I wanted to try and open up the cubby hole was actually with a chisel or a knife, or a combination of it, because what I wanted it to be simple for people who might not have had a router. So basically what I did is I scored some lines with the utility knife to give myself a guide for what wood to pull out. And then I started chiseling, and it worked to a point, but I couldn't get deep enough with the utility knife to actually keep that continuous line going. So as I started getting deeper, it started lifting all the wood out and taking some of that structure on top and bottom that I wanted to keep out. So I just decided to stop that and went along with the router. It was a lot easier, it was quicker, it's cleaner. I was happy with that. Don't do that. Don't learn from my mistakes and don't do that. It was a mess. Had to clean it up. It's fine though. I used the router. It was cool. So once we had that second cubby hole opened up, it was time to deal with the cardboard. Now there are two ways that you could do this, and I found that the easiest way to do it was just push the cardboard down in there, because what it is it's just this grid of pieces of cardboard all glued together that basically support the top and bottom of the shelf. So it kind of collapses down on itself when you push in on it. I cut it on both sides so that it would only push down in the cubby holes and not in the center of the board and the outsides of it. So that was super easy. I just pushed it down basically as far in as my hand could go. And by doing that, it actually separated from the top and bottom board super cleanly. So the inside of these cubby holes is actually super clean and easy to get things in and out. And it didn't make a huge mess, like trying to cut that cardboard out. Because I did try that on the last one, and oh boy, did it make a mess, and it did not come out cleanly. So again, learn from my mistakes and just go with the easiest way. Now the final modification that I had to make to this shelf was to make little channels for the cords to actually go through the top and bottom to actually get into the cubbies and go out to whatever appliance it was going to, whether it was the TV or the Apple TV or whatever it was. So I used the router for this, and looking back, I probably should have put some tape on it because again, it's really thin particle board. So as I was routing out, it was looking really good and really clean, and then it caught and it separated the particle board a little bit, which is okay. I did a couple of tricks to make it look better. One, I just took a Sharpie and colored the black in. That's the underside, so no one's gonna see it anyways. But then the top side, where it actually chipped out a pretty large chunk, what I did is I took some wood glue and put it in there and then taped it so that it was nice and flat. Easy fix, but if you're gonna do this, go ahead, put some masking tape around that edge there and then do the routing. It'll hold it all together and it should be fine. Now that all the modifications are done, the last thing to do is install the shelf on the wall and hide the cords, and it's super easy. Now the most challenging part of installing the shelf on the wall was actually trying to figure out how all the cables needed to route into it, into the cubbies, and then out of it. So I had two cables coming down from the TV. One was the power cord that went down into a cubby hole and back out the bottom to the power strip. The second one was the HDMI cord, which actually I didn't route through any of the cubby holes. I just laid it on top because it was the right length to just go straight to the Apple TV and still look clean and hidden behind the soundbar and the Apple TV. Then I had two power cords that needed to come up from the bottom where the power strip was into the cubby holes and then out to the Apple TV and the soundbar. Now the soundbar one was easy because that just came right out of the center, went into the center of the soundbar. The Apple TV was a little more challenging because I had to come up through the center, go into the cubby hole, and then I had another channel routed out over to the left because the Apple TV is set off to the left quite a ways. But I had to finagle this quite a bit to just make sure all the cables were the right length and everything before pushing it in and tightening the screws up and plugging everything into the small power strip on the underside. Now once I had figured out the layout of all the cables, where they needed to come out, how long they needed to be, I went ahead and put some double-sided tape on the bottom of the Apple TV and the soundbar just to make sure they stayed in the right place, they didn't move around, and it still looked good no matter what. And that was the last step. That's all it took. See, it was a super easy one. Now, I know you're wondering, what does the final product look like? Let's do a before and after. So here it is before, with all the cables, looks like a mess. And flip to after. And that's about it. Super easy, right? And it ended up looking super cool and super clean. Now, if you've made it this far in the video, first of all, I want to say thank you so much. Second of all, it'd be great if you'd like it, subscribe to see more cool videos in the future. I'm also going to be building some of my own furniture. Can't just modify IKEA furniture my whole life, right? And if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. Or if you have any suggestions on how you would have done something differently, I'm so open to that. Like I said, I'm new to all this and I'm willing to learn as much as possible. So, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks, bye.